Students, let us come back to the continuation video to this topic, center of mass, linear momentum, collisions. Objective 1 from HC1. See this question, students. Question number 13. A body at rest breaks into two pieces of equal masses. The parts will move. Again, if a body is at rest, the center of mass is at rest, velocity of center of mass is equal to 0. That means momentum of system of this body, if we consider this body to be a system, momentum of system is equal to 0 initially, breaks into two equal masses. The body itself, because due to internal forces, it is breaking itself into two particles, two masses, that two equal masses. If you consider this particle, this body mass as m, and it will divide into two masses, m by 2 and m by 2. Linear momentum should be conserved because it is due to internal force. Initial momentum is 0. Final momentum should also become 0. That means 0 is equal to final momentum is m by 2 v1 vector, the velocity of the first particle, plus m by 2 into v2 vector. Initial momentum is 0. M by 2 into v1 vector is equal to minus m by 2 into v2 vector. M by 2 cancel, or otherwise p1 vector is equal to minus p2 vector also can be written. So what is this? These velocities are in opposite direction, but magnitudes are equal. This minus indicates they are in opposite direction, but v1 is equal to v2 indicates their speeds are equal. That means they will have equal speeds because the two particles have equal masses but are in opposite direction. So we can say here, in opposite direction with equal speed. In case the masses are not equal masses, then it will be in opposite directions with unequal speeds, to make the linear momentum 0 even after the ball breaks into two pieces. Let us go to the next question. Student, let us see this question. This question is a bit tricky. You need to understand this question. A heavy ring of mass m is clamped on the periphery of a light circular disc. There is a light circular disc. Heavy ring of mass m is clamped on the periphery. A heavy ring of mass m on the periphery is clamped to this light circular disc, and a small particle having equal mass, if this is mass m, there is a particle having equal mass, is clamped at the center of the disc. The system is rotated in such a way that the center, suppose this mass is here at the periphery and this mass is here at the center. This circular disc is actually light. So where will be the center of mass lying? The center of mass will be lying somewhere between these two particles. And he has given the information. The system is rotated in such a way that the center of mass moves in a circle of radius r. If this is the center of mass, it is rotated in such a way that it is moving in a circle with radius r with a uniform speed v. That speed is v. We conclude that an external force. You see, my dear students, if the center of mass is rotating in a circular path, that means it is going in a circular motion. If it is going in a circular motion, it should have a centripetal force. What is the formula for if a mass m is traveling in a circular path with a speed v? What is the centripetal force required? The centripetal force required is equal to mv square by r. R is the radius of the circle. Now here, what is the mass here? Center of mass is actually the mass of these two bodies. Two bodies are said to be concentrated at this point. What is the mass of these two bodies? That is 2m. So what is the centripetal force? That is 2m into v square by r is the centripetal force. Should be, this is the force that should be acting on this system, on where it should act. It should act on the center of mass of the two particles, so that center of mass can rotate with this speed. So 2mv square by must be acting on the, is it on the central particle? Not. It should be acting on both the particle system. So 2mv square by r, first one option mv square by r, only on the central particle. First answer is wrong, 2mv square by r, but only on the central particle. A option is wrong. D option is only on the ring. C option, B option is only on the central particle, and there's only one option, C here, which is 2mv square by r must be acting on the entire system, so that the center of mass, which represents this system of ring and also the particle, the force will be acting 2mv square by r, and it will be rotating in a circular motion. That's a good question. That's a good quality question. Let us go to the next question. Let's see this question, students. The quantities remaining constant in a collision are collision. What are the quantities that will remain constant in a collision? Suppose along the direction of collision, what do we know? In a collision, if we consider two particles, whoever are colliding, or three particles, the system, in this system, if we consider these two particles, the system, when collision is happening, they're actually exerting force on each other. For this two particle system, the collision is happening due to internal force. If we consider these two particles to be our system, the collision happens due to the force exerted by these two particles on each other. That force will become internal force. If internal force is acting here, there is no external force to the system, so it should not change any momentum of the system. So linear momentum will be conserved. Linear momentum will remain constant. Next point is kinetic energy. The information is given about linear momentum, kinetic energy, and temperature. You understand this first. Momentum is ticked. Momentum should be ticked. But you see kinetic energy and temperature, students. For kinetic energy to be constant, the collision should be elastic collision. If it is in a perfectly elastic collision, the kinetic energy will also be conserved and it will also remain constant. If in case it is inelastic collision, there will be some loss of energy in the system which gets converted into heat energy. So if it is an elastic collision, given here is only collision. If it is elastic, kinetic energy will be conserved. Kinetic energy will be remaining constant. Momentum will remain constant. And temperature also will remain constant, because there will not be any loss of energy in the form of heat. But if it is general collision, it might be elastic and it might be also inelastic. If it is inelastic, then there is no point of conservation of kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy which is lost is converted into heat energy. So there will be also a change in temperature. So here, what will remain constant? Momentum will remain constant, but kinetic energy and nor the temperature. But neither kinetic energy nor temperature is constant. It's a wonderful question. Let us go to the next question. Students, let us see the last few questions of this topic, 16, 17, 18, 19, last 4 questions. A nucleus moving with a velocity v emits an alpha particle. Let the velocities of the alpha particle and the remaining nucleus be v1 and v2, v1 vector and v2 vector, and their masses be m1 and m2. Given information is, the nucleus is moving with a v1 velocity, v velocity, emits an alpha particle. There will be an alpha particle which is emitted from it. Alpha particle is nothing but 2He4. doubly ionized helium atom. So alpha particle, let the velocity of alpha particle in the remaining nucleus be. So after this emits an alpha particle, the alpha particle velocity be v1, and nucleus velocity is given as v2, and their masses be m1 and m2. This will be m1 and m2. So the relation between these three. So students, initially what should be done? Because of internal force only that alpha particle is emitted. That means P, there is no external force. If there is no external force, P initial momentum should be equal to final momentum. What is initial momentum? This capital M into V vector should be equal to M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector. The initial momentum should be equal to final momentum. So that means what? V vector, answer is asked as V vector is equal to what? M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector by mass. This is mass is a scalar. So this means that velocity vector is actually parallel to which vector? M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector must be parallel to V vector. Must be parallel to V vector, because anything vector, suppose if you understand this important point, if some P vector is equal to some constant into Q vector, that means if this constant is positive quantity, this P vector and Q vector are parallel to each other. This is a very fundamental point. If two vectors are can be written in the form of this, P vector is equal to K into Q vector, where K is positive quantity, positive constant, then P vector is parallel to Q vector. If P vector is equal to some negative quantity into Q vector, then that is anti-parallel. Here V vector is equal to 1 by M is a positive quantity into M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector. That means some constant, positive constant into this value. That means this velocity vector is parallel to, must be parallel to M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector. It might change. If velocity 1 positive, then it might be positive, it might be negative, and overall changes can happen. But it entire M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector must be parallel to V vector. We can be assured of this quantity. So the option will be must be parallel. M1 V1 vector plus M2 V2 vector must be parallel to V vector from this conservation of linear momentum. Let us go to the next question. Let us see this question, my dear students. This is also can be solved with just on the principle of conservation of linear momentum. A shell is fired from a cannon with an angle theta from the horizontal with a velocity v at an angle theta with the horizontal direction. At the highest point on its path, this will act like a projectile motion at the highest, because the shell is thrown with a velocity v and at an angle theta to the horizontal. So we have studied in already projectile motion. This will actually form a projectile motion where the information is given here. At the highest point in its path, it explodes into two pieces of equal masses. Here it explodes into two pieces. This cannon explodes into two pieces. Okay. Equal masses. So suppose if we consider this mass to be cannon shell mass to be m, so the particle masses will be m by 2 and m by 2. One of the passes retraces its path to the cannon. So it will retrace its path to the cannon exactly the way it went. It should come back to the actual path. The speed of the other piece immediately after the explosion is. So you understand, students, here it's an interesting question to be solved here. At the maximum point, the vertical velocity is 0, because at the maximum height it cannot go above that maximum height. That means its vertical velocity is considered to be 0 here. Like how a particle velocity, when it is thrown at the maximum height, the velocity is 0, but it will have an horizontal velocity which is constant throughout the motion because there is no acceleration in the direction of horizontal motion. So what will be the velocity? This is also a very important fundamental point when you are solving projectile motion. What is the velocity of the entire system at the maximum height? That will be u cos theta, or here according to the question that will be v cos theta. So entire system linear momentum at that point will be capital M into v cos theta. At this point it is breaking into two particles, so m by 2 into v1 vector plus m by 2 into v2 vector. But you understand, if it is actually traveling with the same path, this v1 vector should be, that velocities are actually independent of mass. This velocity, if it should follow the same path, this v1 vector must be equal to minus v cos theta at that point, so that again it's like a horizontal projectile with v cos theta in this direction, so that it can again go with that similar path and go to the cannon. So this v1 vector should be minus v cos theta. If we take this information with our logic, then the answer comes to be mv cos theta is equal to m by 2 can be taken as common. No? Okay, m by 2 into v1 is minus v cos theta plus m by 2 into v2 vector. So this m can be cancelled. That means v2 vector by 2 is equal to 3 by 2 v cos theta. That implies this 2 can be cancelled. v2 vector is equal to 3v cos theta. That's a wonderful question 2. I take 3v cos theta. What is the answer according to the question here? The option is A, 3v cos theta. Here the important principle is that momentum will be conserved at this point, at the horizontal point. It will have the same momentum even after the break, because it is breaking into equal parts due to internal force. Because there is no external force acting on it, at that point, at the that momentum will be conserved. So if that momentum is conserved, that initial momentum should be equal to final momentum. That is one logic. Next, at the maximum height there will not be any vertical velocity, it will only be horizontal velocity. Horizontal velocity will be equal to u cos theta, that is here v cos theta. That is second fundamental point. Third point, to retrace its path, that one particle, that broken one particle velocity should be v cos theta in the opposite direction. That is the third point. If we substitute all this information, and we will get the v2 vector, that is 3v cos theta. That's a wonderful question. Let us go to the next question. Students, let us see this question. Already this question concept we have discussed in the previous one of the previous questions of this objective series. In an elastic collision, what will happen in any collision? Momentum will be conserved because it is happening due to internal force. But in an elastic collision, carefully observe, friends, what will happen in elastic collision? Because the particles are completely elastic. When elasticity is there, actually when they are colliding, they both, suppose it is coming with a velocity v1, this is coming with a velocity v2, when they collide, or like this when I am going with v1 and v2, when they collide at a particular point of time, when they collide, you see, students, very carefully, this point is very important, fundamental point. So what will happen? Actually there will be deformation in the particles at the point of contact. There will be deformation in the point of contact. So what will happen? This particle will exert a force on the first particle, and first particle will exert an equal force on the second particle. Due to this, there will be a change, deformation happening in the two particles. So slowly this force will actually decrease the velocity of this particle. This force will increase the, suppose if this is coming with a v1 velocity, v2 velocity, it can only collide if v1 is greater than v2. This force will decrease the velocity v1 and increase the velocity v2 here. But what happens, in this process, there will be a common point where these two particles will be very minute time. Two particles will be going with the same velocity, v common velocity, and slowly this velocity will be increased, this velocity will be decreased. So there will be a place where they will have common velocity. At that time there will be a maximum loss of energy by these two particles, and that loss of energy is converted into elastic energy because they are deformed. But if the collision is perfectly elastic collision, what will happen? Again they will try to regain to their original position when they are separated. So that means whatever the lost energy at that point will again get converted into original energy for elastic collision. But in an elastic collision, what will happen? There will be that loss of energy. Some part of energy will be restored and some part of energy will not be restored. If you see this fundamental point into this picture of collision, then we will be able to answer this question very comfortably. In elastic collision, kinetic energy will be conserved or not? Will be conserved, but will it be same throughout the motion? Definitely not. When during collision, there will be internal force exerting on it. Slowly, that collision, that forces will be in opposite direction. It might decrease one's kinetic energy and it might increase one's kinetic energy, other particles' kinetic energy. But in that process, some energy will be stored into the elastic energy of the two particles, and slowly after the entire collision process happened, again the kinetic energy is entirely restored from that elastic energy. If it is an elastic collision, if it is not an elastic collision, some part of it is wasted and counted into heat energy, and only some part will be regained into kinetic energy. If it is perfectly elastic collision, entirely they both move with the same common velocity without actually getting the energy restored. The lost energy will be completely wasted or converted into heat energy. So here what will happen according to this principle? Very important fundamental. The initial kinetic energy equal to final kinetic energy? Definitely yes. Final kinetic energy is less than the initial kinetic energy? No, it is elastic collision. The kinetic energy remain constant? No, it will not remain constant. We might think final and initial are equal. That doesn't mean the entire kinetic energy remain constant. Some energy will be converted into that elastic energy of the particles. This is a very tricky point here. If I was a student in the beginning, I might have ticked this kinetic energy remain constant because it's elastic collision. The kinetic energy first increases then decreases. No, this is also not correct. We might get confused with C option because initial is equal to final, it should remain constant. Actually not. During the collision, because of elasticity, some part of energy will be stored and again it got regained in perfectly elastic collision. So the initial kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy. This is a wonderful question to deal with, wonderful fundamental point. Let us go to the next question, students. In an elastic collision, same. I explained whatever the concept is required in the 18th question. Now you see this 19th question. In an elastic collision, what will happen? There will be some energy lost in terms of elastic energy, but it will not be restored again. So the initial kinetic energy equal to final kinetic energy? No, there will be loss in energy. Final kinetic energy is less than initial kinetic energy. Yes, if there is a loss of kinetic energy final will be definitely less than kinetic energy initial. The kinetic energy remain constant? No. In elastic or inelastic, it will not completely remain constant. The kinetic energy first increases then decreases. No, kinetic energy will not increase. It will decrease, converted into elastic energy, and slowly it will again increase. But to how much extent it will increase? If it is elastic collision, complete kinetic energy is regained. But if it is inelastic collision, not entire kinetic energy is regained. So option here is the final kinetic energy will be less than initial kinetic energy. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you students for watching this video. Thank you. I hope this collisions and linear momentum and center of mass concept fundamentals have been cleared just by solving these 19 questions of H.C. Verma. Wish you all the best.